Namaste and welcome to today's Love Satsang with this beautiful topic about soul contracts. Soul contracts are, to be honest, on this planet, in this human game, just one of the most essential keys to master yourself as well. Because we souls, I mean, from the divine perspective, there's just one. We incarnate down here in many, many, many fractals and many fractions in souls incarnated in bodies and meet each other to learn and grow and evolve and have storylines, have drama, have adventure, have multitude of stories. And today I want to dive into this beautiful topic because I feel it is important the more we are on this journey of coming together as soul connections to look beyond the storylines, beyond the drama, beyond the ego, and see the divine intelligence behind any person in your life. And as always, I invite you today also not just to listen, but actually to dive also and reflect while listening into your own life to see, okay, these are my major people in my life, like my family, my friends, my lovers, my interests, my workers, or like people around you you are in close contact with or from the past, and reflect something of what I share today or what I channel today, what comes through me, so that you actually can also see these connections in a more precise, clear way. Because sometimes we are just in life like, oh yeah, I have a good time with them, or I don't like them. Yeah, it's very baseline. But to really like have connections in a way that they always serve a purpose anyways, to use it in your life is a major game changer. Yeah. So first of all, maybe what kind of, I mean, I even already kind of enumerated it. What kind of soul contracts do we have? Of course, we have our family, our relatives included. We have our love life, from lovers or like an initial spark to situationships to marriage, yeah, to lifelong partner. We have work, the whole work field of co-creation, purpose-driven, competition driven, the work sphere or purpose sphere, you can say. And we have friends, or in a much more gentle way, soul family, if they are really on the frequency of your soul family, not biological family. And then we have kind of like the random random encounters on the street while we are traveling on, yeah, in different locations, in different scenarios, in the supermarket, or yeah, just very short encounters often, or sometimes maybe a short phase of your life where you have these encounters that are not the other categories I just named. Yeah, and in these categories, you can maybe think for a moment which kind of people are in your life in these categories. And yeah, to really see, okay, this is a contract I have with this person, a contract, this person, a contract. And some contracts, obviously, like your family, is very set. And some contracts may have a little bit more fluidity, where you have a bit more of choice, of free will, if we can argue like that. Yeah. And when we have these contracts, we usually can also, I'm just a little bit giving for the mind categorization. Oftentimes it's not like straightforward, obviously. Like someone who is in your family can also be part of your soul family. Someone you just randomly meet can also be your soul family, but it's just in this lifetime not meant to journey with you any further. It's just a spark of remembrance, and like, I know you, I remember you, and we had a good time, or we have a short time also in this lifetime to remember something, and then go our own path. So it can be the same, like for work also, obviously. And within these contracts, we can distinguish two different flavors, so to say, which is the karmic contract and the dharmic contract. Sometimes they also overlap a little bit. So sometimes something may feel karmic and becomes dharmic. Sometimes it may feel dharmic and it becomes karmic. So sometimes it's a fluidity. And if we look from the pure word of karma, which is just action and reaction, or like you do something and something follows, even dharmic, more purpose-driven contracts are also have a karmic component, because you're always in interaction, you're always in giving and receiving and transaction somehow with people when you have contracts in that sense. Yeah, it's unspoken contracts. It's just a vibrational contract or soul level contract, what I'm talking about. Obviously, you can also have like the real written contracts in this real life, which is on top of that also a soul contract, of course. So karmic contracts, if we name it in this karmic dharmic way, we see karmic contracts more in a very heavy way, in a more negative way if we judge it, more in the sense of this feels draining, this feels triggering, this feels like touching my deepest wounds and fears, this is maybe like revealing patterns, this is going in cycles in the same things, this is kind of like finger pointing and ego clashing and elbowing around kind of karmic things. Sometimes maybe also more in the psychological way, like manipulation, gaslighting, blaming, projecting, all these little games the ego and psyche of the human mind can think of, we also find in karmic contracts. So karmic contracts feel very heavy, very disturbing, very shaking your life in a way, very disorienting, oftentimes also. So oftentimes these karmic contracts come with a way of sometimes even in the way of very suddenly in your life to shake something up, to shake you up and even distract you from your own core. Yeah, so sometimes you're like, I don't know, I cannot really focus on anything other than just this karmic thing at the moment, this karmic contract, these patterns that reveal this what happens inside of me and between this person. So it's very much in friction, in sometimes in intensity, also a friction that creates tension. And usually karmic contracts have unfinished business. Yeah, if we see it in past lives, unfinished businesses, okay, something in some past life happened and then there was a disbalance of giving receiving, or something that needs now to be rebalanced so that it comes again in this lifetime to switch the role. For example, maybe in another lifetime you were mother and child, and now in this lifetime you are lovers, and the whole same situation just reversed. Yeah, so many constellations, but this is oftentimes with karmic contracts that there's some unfinished business. That's why it's friction, tension, work to do, wounds that come up where you're like hit in the face, like look at this, and disturbing in your life. And then we have more the dharmic contracts, which dharma means kind of like the higher purpose, or that what you are here for to bring into this world. And so dharmic contracts are much more heart-based, more in the sense of soul to soul, more nourishing, more supportive, more maybe even really co-creating in purpose, being in service to others, like doing a joint project, using your gifts and talents together to create something for the bigger collective, or just be companions on your path and really support each other on that journey in the highs and in the lows. Yeah, karmics are oftentimes in the highs, they are there maybe, or maybe even using you, your help, your dedication, your patience, your being, your energy. And dharmic is really more of a balance of giving and receiving. Both feel more nourished, more as if their cups are filled in a balanced way. Dharmic. Sometimes, as I said, it can also be like dharmic starts as karmic, and then once the lesson is learned and both are very consciously using, that's consciousness is always a key word. if you use something which feels karmic in a conscious way, like, okay, I'm sitting down now with myself and look at what's coming up, what is triggered, and heal it, transform it, alchemize it. And then if you both consciously look at that, maybe even talk about that and see like, okay, this is coming up for me, this is coming up for me. Communication is always very helpful. Then actually something what may feel in the beginning very karmic, very tension, friction based, loaded, can become dharmic, because you're like, okay, your soul's decided to have some certain pattern to resolve, some lesson to learn, some teachings with each other. And once that's resolved, once there is a clear baseline, maybe then it's a journeying together. Yeah, that can happen as well. Or something that starts dharmic, like, okay, we have a business together, we are co-creating, we are enjoying each other, friends, yeah, high life. And then maybe something shifts in either of their lives or in general, or yeah, name it, timelines, whatever. And then it goes different paths. And then maybe that's how a dharmic contract ends. So you see, like, karmic dharmic is sometimes a little bit like interwoven into each other and fluid. And sometimes you can really pinpoint the contract if, okay, this feels more dharmic, this feels more karmic, and sometimes it's a mix of it. Yeah, just for the mind to understand, okay, yeah, these are some kind of categorizations and flavors I can encounter in my life. And as I said, I'm also inviting you to reflect also afterwards. Okay, these people are in my life, and I feel this is more of a karmic contract, this is more of a dharmic contract, or a mix of both. Yeah. Yeah. And why do we have these contracts? Oftentimes, actually, when we sit with ourselves and really contemplate about it, our soul knows, of course. Our mind sometimes is more in the storyline. Yeah. As you know me, I'm always coming back to that. And also, I've now recorded the podcast episode, which is already released, about like tapping into the soul level and into the human storyline. Because on this human storyline, everything plays out in some drama, theater, yeah, romance, whatever. But on the soul level, there's no judgment. There's just, okay, these lessons wanted to be learned, this growth wanted to be achieved, this expansion is necessary for the next evolution of my soul's journey. This is more the way of thinking, like in your higher self. In your higher self, it's much more about what is the core purpose, the deeper purpose of this connection. Beyond the triggers, beyond the wounds, beyond the love story, what is the purpose of this person in my life? Because the not more often, but the clearer or the more conscious you ask yourself this question, why is this person in my life? What is this person teaching me? What is it showing me? What is it inspiring me to do or be? What is it maybe activating inside of me? What it is it initiating me into? And what is it catalyzing? Yeah, so actually these are also ways of seeing it: triggering, revealing, mirroring, inspiring, initiating, catalyzing, or distracting. Yeah. Kind of how you want to see it, how this contract plays out. The more consciously you are aware of asking yourself this question, what's the purpose of this? What is this showing me? What am I now confronted with to deal with, to heal, to look at, to come to the surface, into the light, to integrate? The more you actually feel, even for the worst situationships, toxic relationships, you feel actually like grateful, because they reveal something to you which you may have not seen just on your own, or just being in high tai fairy tale dharmic connections. Seeing what is revealed. What is your soul actually, through connection, trying to tell you, your human avatar? What is there to look at? to sit with, to go through, to integrate, to develop inside of you. No matter how this human storyline is perceived, how it is felt, like toxic, narcissistic, or on the other spectrum, like very loving and nourishing, no matter what kind of emotions it evokes, beyond the emotions, there's a purpose. The emotions are indicators, can be drivers, especially when love is concerned. I will come to that later because I had a realization myself about that. Like when love is in place, in a connection. I will come to that later. But to go beyond the emotion into the soul, beyond the storyline, into the soul. That's always the invitation to really work with it, to have it. I mean, you don't have to, but if you want to use it consciously, if you want to make conscious use of your connections, because there always are invitations for you to go deeper in yourself, to love yourself more holistically, to bring you back to your own core self and truth, either by revealing something that feels totally off and you're like, no, I have to cut these cords to really stand in my own truth, or actually they're inspiring me, they have their boundaries and standards, to integrate them yourself. Yeah. So there's actually what it asks you also is discernment, how to use what you then have reflected upon. How do you use it to find yourself again, your own truth, your own standpoint, your own center, your own heart, your own connection to soul and source? And that's also what if you have read the description, I see the core purpose beneath all of it is always bringing us back to ourselves. I mean, the other one is just you in another body. Yeah, fractions of the same source energy. So the other one is a reflection of you. They reflect something that's also inside of you. Maybe you are not consciously living it right now, but they're reflecting something to you, mirroring something. So you can see yourself. Because the human ego is quite lazy. If you're just on your own here on this world, what's there to shift, transform, grow, and whatever? I mean, otherwise you need a very high consciousness to say like, okay, I'm sitting now down and see what are my blind spots. But this game is designed in that way that we mirror each other and we show each other from different perspectives. This is also me. The other is also me, and what I see in the other is also inside of me. Otherwise I couldn't see it. And oftentimes actually also the other, what you perceive as the other, is not the real other, but a projection of yourself. You project an image onto the other and create some persona. Yeah, you just see one part of them, not the whole person. Especially in the beginning, if you don't know someone that much, you read their energy, maybe not even that. Maybe you just judge them from their appearance, maybe from what they say, what their viewpoints are, what their opinions are, what they work, where they come from, all these prejudice. Yeah, also religion, culture, countries, history comes in here, how you perceive someone, and that's your projection. So you see actually a projection of something from your imagination. And then you see in this projection a part of yourself. So it's a mirroring back. And also this other person, sees you as a projection of their perception. We always have to keep in mind. So projections, mirrorings going on to reflect something to you. It's kind of like, hello, this is also inside of you. Maybe not in that connection, but somewhere else. Or maybe it's pinpointing a wound of you where you haven't, really, really made peace with it in yourself and integrated that part again. Name it. So many constellations, actually. But always and again to see, this is also inside of me. This is also part of me. Even some traits you do see in others, you may want to say like, no, I'm not that way. Yeah. In different ways, people show what we truly are, or to remind you what you have always been and what to return to, your own core essence, your own self, your own soul, your own source energy. And beyond all that, the vibration of love. So love is actually even beyond the purpose of, okay, this is now to get back to my own routine, this is now to get to eat healthier, this is to activate this gift, this is to try out this hobby. These are purposes also, but even deeper the purpose is to come back to love and truth. Truth is love, love is truth, so interchangeably somehow. But to come back to the vibration of love, and even actually those toxic and narcissistic and whatever people blaming storylines of drama are also there. How much can you actually see beyond the story into the soul, which is always pure? How much compassion do you have, and how much forgiveness can you grant, can you give to free both of you? To free both of you, actually. To set yourself free and to love again. To see the innocence of both of you. Because always, when there's a contract, both play a role. I mean, yes, I'm mostly talking today about one-on-one contracts, but they are also more complicated constellations, of course, like family dynamics and stuff, where you have like multiple contracts mingling with each other, so it becomes a whole more complex game. Or yeah, work as well, friend situationships. So yeah, let's stick to the one-on-ones. That you see beyond that into the innocence of someone, of the core essence, which is the soul. So a training actually is also what I see, and I mean, these are my teachings, always about coming back to soul, coming back to source, coming back to love and truth, which is to bring soul and love always in your connections, no matter how you perceive them. And yes, you have your standards, your boundaries, but to it's sometimes also a navigation, yeah, like, okay, now it's this and this, but to always see the soul behind these deeds, behind these words, behind this life path, and try to tap into, okay, this is their soul path, and they're part of the contract, and therefore also their responsibility, and this is my part of this contract, my learnings, my teachings, why I'm here in that contract. And this is my responsibility. So, responsibility and discernment, big words also here, that you don't have to carry the whole contract yourself, obviously. To look into soul, to come back to that, yeah. To look into the soul level of innocence, meeting innocence on a high level. And from that high level of innocence, the soul is like, I mean, when we personify it, okay, let's come down here and have this love story that is very toxic, back and forth, and try to remind each other of, actually, we are both lovable. We are always already complete, whole and complete. We don't need love outside of us. We don't need validation, attention, or whatever. We are whole and complete. So therefore also I'm mentioning that again about toxic relationships, because I feel like, yeah, many people start with toxic relationships because it's kind of like an initiation, a catalyst into choosing yourself, your own love, make yourself bigger than that, and then see in that actually how much this soul in the body then incarnated loves you, to trigger you so much to be in this dynamic of toxicity and games, manipulation, how much the soul actually loves you, because that soul chose to have this evil role in your life story to bring you back to yourself. Maybe a shift in perception here. And I know sometimes the ego is like, no, They have done this. And then maybe loosen that. Because why nourishing that storyline with anger and resentment and words and a toxicity back actually in the field? To say, okay, I have my teachings, I have my learnings, I'm knowing it now. Maybe I don't even have to glorify it or be grateful for it, but at least neutralize it by seeing the innocence behind it, or by even seeing the grandness, the perfection of the orchestration, sending you that person. Can also be in work and school also, actually, like younger generation, when you are in school and have a lot of bullying going on and like finger pointing, people laughing about you. Yeah, this whole game also. To see these people as side characters in the storyline. We also talked about main character energy in one of our love satsangs. To see them as side characters in your storyline, to become that hero yourself again, to reclaim your own true self love, the love inside of you, which is actually reflected around you if you see it. If you see that all these around you who treated you like the worst case scenario you can think of, these people actually, I mean, not the people maybe, but on a higher level, the soul, that's a weird language of love saying, hey, choose yourself, love yourself, don't seek outside, don't look outside, find your truth. Like little signs. This is about you. This is about you. We are just here to trigger you so you can find yourself, so that you can find and remember the truth of your being. And then, yeah, just because we are entangled in that, as I said, about love, love is not only the deepest purpose of connections, of contracts, but actually, and also the deepest remembrance you can get out of contracts, but also what I call it, the sugar candy of bringing us back to soul. I mean, because the ego can be quite lazy in transformation. I mean, why to do something if we don't have to do it? Why to do something if we are not pushed towards something or trained towards something? Or yeah, so the ego has many sabotaging techniques, many postponement, delayment techniques. If you don't have love as a driving force, as a catalyst, as the ultimate catalyst, the love towards someone, can be anyone, like in any relational type, but obviously partnership is maybe the most intense, most catalytic catalytic yeah, relationship. When love is not there, there's no real drive, no motivation. So love, actually, that's why I call it sugar candy. Sometimes it's like the donkey in front of a wagon with a carrot, and like, okay, I want the carrot, I want the carrot, keep going, but never reaching that carrot. So that carrot is actually just the sweet candy to keep walking, and to then see at some point the sweet is removed, and you're like, actually now I see this connection in clearer light, in much more conscious in a much more conscious space. Yeah, sometimes we are so eager into something and like, oh yes, I need that person, I need this feeling I have with this person. And then if something is revealed over time, and divine timing often also, yeah, drop new storylines, new timelines, new revelations about a connection, new shifts in that connection, in that storyline, which keeps it entertaining for our soul in a way, in this life story. Then they are like, okay, actually this was not truly the love I thought it would be, or maybe this love was somehow took another path than I thought. So yeah, maybe you can think of this as well. Love is the fuel of this transformation between contracts, within contracts. It's the main purpose of contracts, and it is the, yeah, in a way, the guiding force of it to realize itself back to the core frequency, which we call love. I mean, we don't really have a name for it, what we all call love, truth, home, source, energy, but that is what it is guiding us back. Yeah, love. All about love. So many love stories in this life. Yeah, in one lifetime you have so many love stories: short, long, complicated, easy, nourishing, draining. And that's how, in a way, when we see it from that perspective, the divine explores and experiences itself and reflects itself back from different perspectives. Yeah. I was asked already in one of the transmissions here, can we actually escape or like maybe accelerate a soul contract, especially those soul contracts where we want to get out of? Can we get out of a soul contract? And I'm just giving you my perspective on it. I mean, there are different viewpoints, there are different, yeah, ways of seeing it, and I wouldn't say there's a generalization or this is always the way. There are always exceptions, and always it's more complicated than we can pin down to what our mind can understand. But when you have a contract, first of all, of course, to understand, I mean, the ego wants to run maybe, or wants to fight, or fight, fright, flees, all these survival mechanisms that kick in. But when you are already on this consciousness, okay, a contract always serves a purpose, always has actually a benefit for you. Like, okay, this is triggering, but I know some deeper purpose must be there. So let's see and sit with it. So this is actually the first invitation to not see like, okay, how can I get rid of it in the most possible, fastest way? But to see, okay, interesting, shifted to the neutrality and to the interesting part of what is the benefit actually here for my soul's journey, for my path, my growth, my expansion. And then two, what I also already mentioned, to see, okay, this is my part of the contract, this is their part of the contract. I'm only responsible for my part. I cannot be responsible for the other part. Sometimes, especially if you are an empath, we sometimes juggle both, or we want to juggle both, and then it becomes kind of like a real burden that can drain you very much, can very much also go onto your nervous system, distract you from your whole life. So to only focus on, this is my path, this is my responsibility, this is actually what I can work with. Yeah, this is what I can work with. And to really take that time to figure out, okay, this is why they are in my life. Okay, I see this is triggering this and this wound. Okay, I see this wound comes from there. And I see I have still somehow neglected that part. This is now to integrate. Oh, I see still I have lost myself in that. I need more boundaries. I need clearer standards. Or I see, I have already dealt with this, but still it comes up. So there must be a residue inside of me to clear that in my space, in my field. Otherwise, I wouldn't have attracted it. Yeah, to really work with it instead of like, okay, how can I get rid of it? How can I get out of it? Because the truth, in my opinion, is once the lesson for you is completed, once you have seen, okay, this is why they're in my life, and if it's not transitioning into a dharmic form of contract, if that is complete, it is complete and it feels light, it feels, as if it's really like, okay, it's done, I can move on. Or they will just fall out of your way automatically in some form. They will be removed in a way, divinely removed from your life, and then that's it. So soul contracts in that sense are removed once the lesson is learned. If you skip that part, maybe the contract with one person is finished, but if you haven't really integrated what needed to be integrated or looked at or healed or whatever, name it, Next person shows up, same pattern, similar situation. So either way, you have to kind of like look at it at some point. And yeah, some contracts may feel very, very, yeah, in a way, even mysterious or mystical. So there are sometimes hidden layers of what your perception in this human dimension cannot understand, at least from my experience. Sometimes it's like there's some higher level. I have no idea actually. I can just surrender and trust that either some more clues, some more pieces of this connection, of the puzzle of this connection, are revealed over time. Because sometimes also you have to see if it's a one-on-one contract, what I'm talking about. Like you take a move in this game and they take a move. You take a move, they take a move. And then there's another whole layer of the collective energy field and cosmic energy field interfering in your one-on-one constellation. So even if you take your responsibility, there are a whole lot of other influences that are not really in your hands. And I know a lot of manifestation techniques say like, ah, yeah, shift your energy and you can fly high and flow out of it. It's a question if that is really always that simple. So there are a multitude of interactions and influences in that sense that sometimes are hidden, mystical, revealed over time. So that even if you feel like, I've completed my part, I've taken my responsibility, even then, sometimes it can linger or bounce back like a boomerang, the same connection, because there's some unfinished business still. Yeah, sometimes it can be, okay, I finished this part, you go apart, you go your own path, and then some years later or decades later, same person appears because maybe there has been some development had to go different path, and then you come back together to resolve the rest. And sometimes even what parted can come together in more harmony and more conscious connection and more like, okay, yes, we see where we actually hurt each other, but now in this level of awareness we can come together and really work with it and can make peace, can forgive each other, and can be grateful for each other. Yeah, so sometimes it's that way. And what I also noticed about ending contracts is sometimes they just have a cosmic timeout in a way. That's how I frame it, a cosmic timeout. Like, okay, maybe there's some lingering energy. I mean, even if you're not interacting in the physical dimensions, other dimensions can still be active. Obviously, soul level is in a way always active. We are always connected, yeah, even if we don't operate on a physical level together. Different dimensions, different entanglements, so to say. So even if you're not here on the physical dimension interacting, you may interact on an energetic level still, especially if it has been a longer term connection, deeper loving connection, where you really have built something together, co-created something together. Can even still also be between someone who has died and someone who remained living. Yeah, this is still also another layer. Cosmic timeout then is sometimes, okay, it just needed some graceful time of fading away, because maybe the nervous systems needed to adapt or life circumstances needed to accommodate, or different scenarios you can think of actually why someone still needed an energy, maybe even unconsciously, not really consciously oftentimes, needed the energy of the other person in that contract to navigate some of their life's journey. Yeah, so it's a cosmic timeout in that sense. In any way, I can, from my opinion, say like if you work with it, it's the best part you can do. And maybe that's in a way of accelerating it or perceived acceleration of a contract. Like, okay, this is ended now, lessons learned, integrated. I don't have to repeat it with someone else. This is how I see it, about how fixed contracts are, how flexible contracts are, and there's no generalization in it, as I feel like some maybe even from a soul level, okay, let's have a fixed contract. Yeah, Or some are like, okay, let's see, have some paragraphs written. I mean, like in a real paragraph, like in a real contract, you also have some paragraphs, and then you have an open paragraph. Okay, if there are like new agreements, we will have a new contract, and yeah, whatever, or the small lines underneath of saying, okay, exception, whatever. So I feel this is the same way in soul contracts. You have exceptions, you have very fixed things, you have flexible things, you have open things, you have many sorts of contracts in a way. And the more people you have in your life, the more complex it can get, of course. And therefore also my invitation to you, to when you look at your closest people, or maybe these people who impacted you in whichever form most, to look at the purpose or benefit, the deeper meaning behind these connections, no matter if they are still in your life or not. And for those who are still in your life and to come into your life, to always have discernment. Yeah, to always have discernment and be conscious, okay, with whom do I actually want to interact in my life? What are my terms of conditions in my life to get into new contracts? Yes, maybe sometimes it's predetermined. You cannot really do something because, again, sugar candy love is in the air, and you are, yeah, you're with your rose glasses on in the game until it's removed and you see the truth of it. Because oftentimes when love is in place, when the sugar candy is in place, we become blind. We become really blind. We get lost in illusions. And we can also be compassionate about ourselves to get lost in illusions when love is in the air. And at some point, it's just that way that even if you feel like I have already used my discernment, can even be like, okay, again, some form of karmic contract, because maybe residue of past life. So yeah, in a way, use your discernment, but also be compassionate with yourself if your discernment feels like, hasn't really worked. Maybe it's just because this really was a contract that was necessary for you. And then to be grateful and again, work with it, sit with it, contemplate about it. And maybe also to mix in that how to work really with contracts in a conscious way is, I mentioned already a lot of parts, but also one part I feel I haven't touched upon now coming is this detachment, not only from the storyline, but what comes with it is the emotional attachment and physical, like material attachment. Because often we get stuck in contracts when we are too much in emotions, in storylines, in material benefits. Yeah. To detach from that and to see it more clearly beyond that, yeah, from this higher perspective again. And if you have someone, I mean, if you are conscious, if you have someone conscious, I would also argue the more conscious you become, the more conscious also the mirror becomes. So the people you draw into your life become more conscious in a way, most of it. That you really both are coming together in a conscious way and can talk about it. That's where I mentioned already communication, I see as a key element in more evolved conscious relations of any form. To say like, hey, this triggered me a lot, maybe also naming why, or why it is touching something inside of you, and seeing like, how can we work together through it? And then actually something becomes what feels triggering, and what maybe in the past, if you had been less conscious, more in ego structure still, would have become like a whole drama kind of thing, and finger pointing and flying cushions and and dishes, becomes now maybe just more of a curiosity to explore together. Hey, I'm triggered and I would love to heal this. I would like your help to maybe see more clearly what this is inside of me, or like even thank you to let me see that again. It's there's something still I can work with, I can work on. And thank you for being my reflection, my mirror, my catalyst, my trigger, my inspiration to see that more clearly, so that I can heal that so that I can integrate that, so that I can become more whole and complete and see my wholeness. So that's the beauty actually of consciously using contracts. Of course, if the other party is still in ego games and structures, you can just be compassionate, state clearly your standpoint, and then remove yourself out of it physically, energetically, cutting cords in the way, and do your part and let them do their part. But if it's already conscious, it's a beautiful way. And I see that more and more in years to come with New Earth, higher consciousness, awakening, ascension collectively, that we can come together consciously and debate in a way of like, maybe even not take it that seriously and like, this really triggered me. Like, okay, let's look at this. Let's look at what this is and work together as a team in it and use these contracts as a, not as something to be removed, but something that, yeah, brings you really this benefit. Like I said, really this benefit of self-love, integration, wholeness, completion. And what I also always mention, some of you, if you watch this and know me, I have shared that many times, because for me the most beautiful thing is when once we come together soul to soul, we are two whole complete beings and form an infinity sign together. Whoops, like, yeah, this. Yeah, so usually it's like we start with, okay, we don't see ourselves fully, we start with a half circle or even like less of it, and then we meet another half circle and it becomes kind of like, with them I feel complete. So it becomes kind of like this drama thing, and I need you, and this is transaction and contractional and disbalance, sometimes toxic. And when we find, the more we find our own wholeness, we become a full circle coming together, we can form something much bigger. I mean, infinity sign has infinite possibilities to co-create and use each other's gifts together in something new. That's how I see it. And yeah, that I feel is also part of new earth relationships, families, work, purpose driven, more dharmic. Because actually, if we see it that way, to my view, in my view, it's that you can turn any karmic, perceived karmic contract to a dharmic one when both involved are conscious enough to sit with it, work with it, see the benefit in it, and cooperate instead of fight against each other. And then we actually have only contracts, if we see it from that way, serving us. They always serve us, always. Even the most painful ones. And I know it's sometimes difficult to see that, and it's valid and actually helpful and useful and necessary also to sit, of course, through these emotions of the storm. But then at some point to switch, otherwise it's destroying you and in the nonsense. I mean, it's nonsense to just stick to a storyline that destroys you. So to switch at some point again, like, okay, I'm sitting with that now, forgiveness, taking my part in it, and yeah, just wishing the other the best in some form, or at least to neutralize it, to neutralize the energy. No matter if you're in resentment or in positivity, you always have kind of like a lingering energy. And if you really want someone out of your life, neutralize it. Yes, this was what I mainly wanted to share about soul contracts, because I feel it's also vibrating very much in the field and every one of us, and maybe has given you some inspiration to think about now afterwards, to sit with your list of people who are in your field, who are surrounding you, whichever category you find yourself in, and decipher what's the purpose of this connection, especially those who touch something deeper inside of you. Usually these are the most important ones. Start with them and work through these. Thank you for your comments. Appreciate you being present in life because you co-create that energy. And actually also I can say, like, whoever is here, live or not live, replay or not, or in my life, we all have some form of contract also. Like, yeah, some form of contract is between all of us here in that space. So energetically, even when not in the same physical environment, we have that contract of being right here, right now in this, and thinking, talking, exchanging about this topic. Yes. So thank you so much for your time, your presence, and energy, and working consciously with contracts, because the more of us use it consciously, also others are inspired to use it consciously. So when you start consciously and bring something up, if someone is truly still in their ego and you can see a little bit higher on his perspective of consciousness, invite that in, try it out to bring more consciousness in it, more clarity, more focus, more presence, more soul level connection instead of ego games. And maybe watch if the other person hops on the same boat and can become conscious too. And then you can use it in a very beautiful way. That's my wish, at least for you. If you're finding yourself in a complicated situation, toxic situation, especially, then I hope something of that helps to navigate through it and to see always the purpose of love inside. So much love and bliss, and see you next time. And as always, whenever you have any topics you want to have covered in one of my lives or in the podcast, just write a comment and I will get back if it's in alignment with what I share. Thank you so much. See you next time.